I see you, Nancy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is the National EFT Training Institute's community tapping call. And tonight our topic is an introduction to emotional freedom techniques. So welcome to health professionals and wellness and life coaches or career coaches, educators, corporate trainers, parents, individuals who are highly committed to their own healing and their optimal growth. And regardless of the experience that you have with EFT, you're welcome here, and I hope that I'm able to provide something that's exciting to you and that you find very, very valuable. My name is Nancy Forrester. I'm the Executive Director of the National EFT Training Institute, NEFT for short. And I have been an active EFTer for about 18 years now. Throughout my career, 25-year career as a psychotherapist. Before that, my career as a business professor, university and college, high school teaching, all kinds of different things. But through a whole series of events in my own life, I, 25 years ago, lost pretty well everything. Lost my health, lost my career, lost my relationship, and was really forced to address some really core issues in my life. And that's why 18 years later, I am an EFT trainer and devote a great deal of my time to helping others discover how to use emotional freedom techniques at a very deep level. So that's what we're here to do today. I'm going to go through a presentation for you, a PowerPoint presentation. There's a couple of videos also involved, and let's have a good time together. So let me share my screen, and we'll find the presentation, and we'll get started. And there we go. So, hoping the technology is working well for us this evening. So we're into wellness with emotional freedom techniques. In a nutshell, here's why we're learning EFT, often known as tapping. And for me, it really comes down to 4 key reasons why we would be interested in learning this modality or this tool. And that is because we want to feel better. We want to be able to think more clearly in order that we can act more powerfully. And if indeed we can do all of those things, we can feel better, we can think more clearly, we can act more powerfully, that then puts us in a position to become the creators of our lives and to actually proactively then move forward and create the life that we actually desire. And I'd like to start the presentation tonight. A few weeks ago, I had an opportunity to be on the stage with Jack Canfield, who's the creator of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. And he was here in Toronto a few weeks ago. And his quote, "Whether you're a parent, a therapist, a coach, a teacher, or someone who wants to live their best life, EFT tapping is simply the best tool we currently have to change our suffering into our dreams." And I love that last line of his, to change our suffering into our dreams. So Jack Canfield is a huge proponent of EFT. He teaches it from his own stage to the thousands of people he talks to every year. And he's suggesting that this is the best tool we currently have. And this goes along with the founder of EFT, Gary Craig in California, back in 1995, put together the basic mechanics of EFT and offered it to the world. And as he did so, the phrase that he used was, "We're on the ground floor of a healing high-rise." And I remember him saying, we may not always be tapping on our faces. We may not always be using our hands to tap on these acupressure points. At some point in time, we may actually evolve beyond where we are now, but where we are is on a ground floor of a healing high-rise, and that's what EFT allows us to do. This is a short video, about a 2-minute video, that will tell you a little bit about the National EFT Training Institute and what our mission is in the world. There we go. Hi, I'm Nancy Forrester, the founder and CEO of the National Emotional Freedom Techniques Training Institute. What if there's a scientifically validated technique that is so gentle, children can use it to resolve their pains, psychologists can use it to resolve major trauma, and CEOs of companies can use it to drive profits and productivity? Well, I've got some good news for you. There is such a system. It's called Emotional Freedom Techniques, or EFT. EFT gives you a powerful tool to go beyond talk therapy and behavior modification and get to the root emotions that are sabotaging your clients' efforts to change their lives. It's been shown to transform the effects of post-traumatic stress in veterans and survivors of major trauma. Endorsed by the American Psychological Association and the International Coaching Federation, EFT has been proven effective by researchers at Harvard, Columbia, and Johns Hopkins. If you're a helping professional, training with NEFTY will help you have more power in your life, your work, and your world. But don't just take my word for it. Listen to NEFTY's clients and graduates.
I think that what I'm most excited about with EFT and that I've seen in my own life is that it's the connection between your dreams and your desires and the outcomes that you want in your life and how to actually get there.
If EFT was actually integrated into standard practice, I believe that we would not have burnt out therapists. I believe that we'd have therapists who have done their own work, know what their own triggers are, and they really will do much more powerful work in the world.
I would encourage any professional person to add this to their professional toolbox simply because it helps them improve their performance in daily life, and it also gives them something they can give clients or patients to help them manage anxiety or fear or anything else that is standing in the way.
This world would be transformed. Individuals would be transformed. Marriages would be transformed. Families would be transformed.
If you're a helping professional, training with NEFTY will help you have more power in your life, your work, and your world. Visit www.nefty.com to learn more. So that leads me to this picture. With EFT, there is a really big elephant in the room. And part of this introductory presentation tonight is I want to talk about that elephant in the room. And to me, the elephant is because EFT tapping is so readily available on the internet these days. There are videos and PDFs. You can learn tapping. You can do tapping programs. There's so much available. The question becomes, well, then why do we have a professional training institute called the National EFT Training Institute? Isn't it simple enough to just bring up a video on YouTube and learn this technique in a couple of minutes, and that's all there is to it? So I really want to address that question this evening. And I think one of the easiest way to do that is to use the words of Gary Craig, the founder of EFT, and let him talk about how the internet tapping fits in with professional level training in EFT. So here's what he says. Persistent use of the basic recipe alone. And I'm going to teach you the basic recipe tonight. It's, if you're a child listening to this presentation, you'll learn it in about 3 minutes. If you're an adult, it will probably take you a little bit longer. But it is a very, very simple mechanical process, the basic recipe of EFT. So Gary goes on to say, persistent use of the basic recipe alone, without any education on how to tailor it or polish it, will get you about 20% of EFT's treasure chest of healing benefits. However, this 20% is often so astonishing that it tends to obscure the remaining possibilities to EFTers. It's like being fascinated by a bicycle while unaware that planes, trains, and automobiles exist. Some of our best EFTers call this the grand EFT illusion, because the results that are generated from this 20% are so advanced over what you might expect that it's easy to erroneously conclude that the basic recipe is all there is to EFT. So many EFTers discover that 20% on the internet, and they don't go any further, and they're unknowingly leaving the remaining 80% on the table. So tonight, I'd like to speak to that issue of where does professional training, where does that 80% fit in, and when should you consider moving beyond the basic tapping protocol, moving beyond that 20%, which itself is so astonishing. When should you move from there into professional training with the National EFT Training Institute? The second thing that I'd like to do tonight is to just paint a bigger picture, a bigger vision of where EFT fits into this evolution we're in around how we can help ourselves and other people to heal the suffering, and also to create the lives that we would like to live. So there's a bigger picture than we often hear around EFT, and I would like to speak to a little bit to that tonight. And then the third thing I want to do in this presentation is really to teach you the bicycle, as Gary calls it. I'll teach you the bicycle in the way that NEFT positions the bicycle, and then we'll talk a little bit about what you can actually do when you discover the planes and the trains and the automobiles vis-a-vis the professional training in EFT. So this is positioning EFT into a larger schema, a larger framework of where it actually fits into the overall healing and professional development. So I've been studying this process of personal development and healing for at least 40 years. And as I look at the overall picture, then I come to three big truths. And the first truth is that literally everything is energy. Now, when I used to talk about this and say this to groups of people, even 5 years ago, some people would just have, their eyes would glaze over. They would go, what is this woman talking about? Everything is energy. I am so thrilled to report that today, I'm sure you're sitting at your computer saying, yes, of course, everything is energy. Human beings are energy, tables are energy, lamps are energy. I'm just looking around my room here. Everything I'm looking at is energy. And as energy, what that means is that everything is vibrating at a signature frequency. Vibrating meaning that it's transmitting a certain signal, a certain vibration of energy, and it's capable of receiving a certain frequency of energy. So each human being, for example, based on their experiences, they are literally vibrating with a certain frequency of energy, and that the higher the vibration for a human being, the higher that vibration, meaning the faster the energy is moving, the greater vibrancy that human being is going to feel. So as human beings, we live within this huge energy field, which we call the quantum field. Different people will call that different things. Physicists will call it the quantum field. Some people prefer to call that the divine or infinite possibilities, the set of all probabilities. Some people like to call that God or spirit. Whatever suits for you, that is the name that we have for this field of energy that we all live within. And for human beings, the way we experience that greater energy field, the way that frequency comes into our bodies, physical bodies, is through what's been known for thousands of years as the subtle energy system. Subtle energy system coming from wisdom from the Eastern philosophies, as I say, years and years ago. So your subtle energy system, that's involved with your meridian system, your chakra system, your biofield, your aura. And in our Western world, we're finally being able to see these things show up on our high-tech instruments. And so we're beginning to understand that this subtle energy system is actually a thing. It is a physical thing that we can see, that the energies are actually flowing through this system. The other point I want to make here is, yes, we're all energy systems. So in my slide here, you can see that these two human beings actually have this electromagnetic energy field emanating from their bodies, and that those energy fields are connected, that we do influence each other energetically. We know this when we walk into a room, we can feel the energy of different people. So we are energy, we are vibrating at a signature frequency, and we are affecting each other. We are affecting each other energetically and receiving information from the quantum field through our subtle energy system. The second thing that I know for sure is that everything is emotional, that human beings are always experiencing emotion, that emotions are fundamental to our beingness. We cannot not be feeling emotion. Yes, we can learn to repress the emotion. We can learn to be unaware of what emotion we're experiencing at any point in time. But emotions are chemicals in the body, and the body is always experiencing one emotion or another. Like in our Inside Out movie here, we can see the different, some of the different emotions that a human body experiences. We see, I forget the name of these, but I remember the emotions. The little blue girl is the sadness emotion. Sadness is a fairly low energy of emotion. We see the anger fellow. Anger has more energy, more vibration to it. Over on the left-hand side, we see fear. And then, of course, we have joy in the middle in the typical joy posture. And the green person is disgust, contempt, or disgust. So emotions are energy. Everything's energy. Everything is emotion. So emotions are energy. Emotions vibrate at different frequencies. Joy, for example, vibrates at a very high frequency, which is correlated with feeling good and health and well-being in a human being, whereas the sadness is correlated more with an experience of less pleasure. We know what we're vibrating by how we feel. That's a key point. I'll say it again. We literally know what our signature vibration is in any moment because we have emotions. Emotions are our GPS, so to speak, to be able to navigate our world. So we experience our world emotionally. We remember it emotionally. That's true at all ages. Massively true for young people, about up to the age of 8. But even as adults, we are wired to experience our life emotionally. So emotions are the linchpin. They're the linkage between the quantum field the unseen energy of the quantum field, and the observable energy of the world of reality that we can actually see, touch, smell, hear, and whichever one I forgot. There are 5 senses. So emotions are the link between the unseen quantum world and the seen world of reality. Now, here's the third big truth that makes EFT so effective when you look at how it's positioned in the world, and that is we are evolved beings. We have been evolving, and evolution favors survival. And a very important point is to understand that we are built to prioritize survival at all costs. So we have massive amounts of information that are flowing into our brain at all times, and that brain is developed to quickly assess whether the information is threatening to us or not threatening to us. And we're built to have a very fast time between the limbic system, that's the emotional system, and the reptilian system, which is a very instinctive, primitive system which literally keeps us alive, breathing and heart beating and all of that. So there's a very close and fast connection between the limbic system and the reptilian system in order that we can assess very quickly whether we are under threat or not. And one of the important things to realize about that is that that system is subconscious. It's below the level of our awareness, and it takes precedence. We may think that this lovely neocortex, the thinking brain, that's our rational, logical brain, we may think that that's in charge, but it's not true. You know, in a very threatening situation, if we actually stop to think about things, we could actually be dead, not be surviving before we figured out in the neocortex whether it's a threat or not. The limbic and the reptilian system are built to assess the threat very quickly and to react. So if there's a threat determined, then the limbic system will send a signal to the reptilian. The reptilian brain will turn on the stress, the fight, flight, freeze reaction that we have, and mobilize our bodies to take care of us inside that threat. So it is a binary system that we have evolved to have. We are either in stress, we are being flooded with stress chemicals and therefore stress emotions, or we're being flooded with the chemicals of success, meaning that we're in peace, we're in happiness, we're in growth, we're in maintenance. And we can't do both of those two things at the same time. And the stress system will take precedence if there's any indication that there's a threat to the system. Let me show you an illustration of this, which really makes this point, I think, very well. This is the cat scared by the cucumber. The cat has the same 3 parts of the brain as we do. It has the reptilian system, the instinctive reptilian system, and then it has the limbic emotional system, and it also has a bit of a neocortex up there. But here we're going to see this cat actually responding to a perceived threat, otherwise known as a cucumber. Now watch carefully, this one goes fast. I'll probably play it a second time for you. One last time. So the way that cat is reacting is from this primitive, let me see if I can get this slideshow going again, is reacting from this reptilian system and the limbic system. And you see how quickly that cat jumped. That is an instinctive reaction because the cat feels like it's under threat from the cucumber. And as human beings, we're doing exactly the same exactly the same thing in our lives, that the survival system acts so quickly that we're very often reacting to perceived threats, which are actually not a threat to us at all. And that becomes very important when we look at modalities for healing and personal growth. So, three big truths. Everything is energetic, everything is emotional, and we have evolved to prioritize survival at all costs. The human system will give up everything in order to survive. It will give up its joy, it will give up its happiness, it will give up its health, it will literally give up everything in order to survive. And why this is important then, the implications of these three big truths is that every single problem in any part of our lives, whether that problem is showing up in our relationships, whether that problem is showing up in our health, whether it's showing up in our careers, in our spirituality, whether it's showing up in our wealth, every problem in any part of our lives is energetic. Every problem is emotional at its core, and every problem at its core stems from an unprocessed threat to our survival. Okay, and that threat to our survival is usually subconscious. For example, recently in the news, Prince Harry, Princess Diana's son, Prince Harry, has been forthcoming that he is finally recognizing the impact of the loss of his mother when he was a young boy. And he's been quoted as saying that loss of his mother and his unwillingness or lack of awareness, his inability to process that loss energetically, emotionally, and to recognize the threat to his survival. He said that it impacted literally every area of his life. And he said that he buried it for 20 years, and that the last 2 years have literally been hell, and finally have brought him to the place of recognizing that he needs to deal with that situation in his life. So the implication number one, every problem in any part of our lives is energetic, emotional, and is stemming from a threat to survival, at least a perceived threat to our survival. And the second implication then is, if we are going to have a sustainable solution to any problem in relationships, health, wealth, careers, spirituality, etc. If there is going to be a sustainable solution, then that solution is going to have to be energetic. It's going to need to work at an emotional level, and it's going to have to emphasize the creation of safety at a physiological and subconscious level. And that is exactly why I'm suggesting that emotional freedom techniques is a very powerful solution to any problem issue in our lives, because that's exactly what EFT does. It works energetically, meaning that we're tapping on the subtle energy system. The acupressure points are simply areas where the subtle energy system comes close to the surface of the body, so we can tap on them. It works emotionally. EFT really prioritizes the emotions that a human being is feeling. And it is very, very concerned that the physiological aspects of the body are taken care of, that the stress response, the fight, flight, freeze response is calmed, is soothed before we move into any deeper work. EFT is an entry modality into the broader field of energy psychology. Energy psychology has about 60 different modalities, all of which, what's common about them is that they operate on or within the subtle energy system of the body. Energy psychology itself then is part of an even larger field called energy medicine. And it is a whole new world that takes us beyond what we've known before, which has really been focused in the behavioral world and the cognitive world. And that is still in many areas considered to be the gold standard, is cognitive behavioral work. And what EFT and energy psychology allows us to do is to push the frontiers further into the emotions and into the energy, and to really working physiologically with the body to create safety at a subconscious level. Because it is doing those things, working energetically, emotionally, and at a subconscious physiological level, we do see results in many different areas. Here are 3 psychological conditions: anxiety, overwhelm, for example; physiological conditions, so chronic health issues, disease, pain, injuries, body tension; and performance issues, so athletic, artistic, academic, public speaking, procrastination, sales, exactly. So EFT can be effective in all these 3 different areas. I am going to teach you how to do the basic modality, the basic EFT tapping, and so I do need you to recognize that you're in tapping along with me here, that you're giving informed consent that this is a powerful modality, and so you may experience these impacts as you tap on your acupressure points. And so you're likely to see your nervous system showing signs of rebalancing. That is, your parasympathetic nervous system and your sympathetic nervous system will come back into a more regulated balance for you. And so you may experience some yawning, some sighing, some laughing, some tears, some smiling. You may feel, as you let some of this emotional stuff go, you may experience some tiredness, and the muscles, the tension draining out of your muscles, so that your face and your body may actually soften a bit. Okay, so let's start. Now, at the National EFT Training Institute, we teach tapping, or teach EFT, in three levels. And we do this to address one of the fundamental issues that always happens when people learn basic EFT, is they don't have an awful lot of trouble learning the actual points to tap on, but they always come back and they say to me, I stopped tapping because I didn't know what to say. And so often on the internet, you'll find that tapping is taught together. You're taught the acupressure points, and you're taught a certain standard phrase to use all the time. And when it's taught together like that, people can tend to get very confused. And when they're confused, of course, they don't do anything. And that's a real shame. So at NEFTY, we break this down into the first standard, which we call the bronze standard, where we simply tap on these selected acupressure points. This is a picture of me on a cruise ship, desperately trying to figure out whether I do want to tap on these points in order to release my craving for that chocolate chip cookie. And it looks like carrot cake, one of my favorites down there. As I recall, I chose not to tap, and I ate the cookie. Everything in moderation. So here's a little tapping diagram that shows you where these different points are too. Just one note where it says karate chop point. We've actually changed that now in internationally accredited EFT because there are some cultural issues in some countries where that would not be a sensitive way to talk about that point on the fleshy side of our hand. And so these days we actually call that side of hand point rather than karate chop point. It's called side of hand. So karate chop point is actually going to go into the archives. The points that we're going to use are really natural human comfort points. as these pictures of young people show. The one in the top left almost looks like they're biting their fingernails, which is actually a very common way that people stimulate their acupressure points on their fingers. And there are just ways to do that I'll show you tonight that don't have the negative consequences of biting fingernails. So, whoops. So let me stop this share and we'll come back and I'll put my picture on here. So I'm just going to show you how to do this bronze level tapping. So tapping on the side of your hand here, and we're just going to tap 5 to 7 times on this point. And then we're going to move to our eyebrow point right here. That's it. And tapping 5 to 7 times here. You can tap on one side or the other side. And some people do like to tap both at the same time. All the research is done on just the unilateral tapping. So it just would be a preference if you like to tap on these points at the same time. The next point here is on the side of your eye, just right on the bone, 5 to 7 times again. Underneath your eye, right here on the bone, 5 to 7 times. That's it. Underneath your nose, on your chin, and then on your collarbone, which is right here. If you can feel that notch in your collarbone, and you just go over about an inch here, this would catch it right there. And again, you can do that on both sides. One thing that some people like to do is just use the flat of their hand and tap like this. And they are covering actually both of those points. And then the next point is actually underneath here, underneath the arm, right in here, 5 to 7 times. And then finally here on the top of the head. It's a very, very important point where a lot of the meridians come together here. So just go gentle there. And that's what we call a round. And then you just take a breath. And in bronze level tapping, we don't worry about testing things or taking the levels of intensity. We're just really tuning in the energy system. It's like an energy toning that we're doing. So let's do another round here. Side of our hand, on our eyebrow, underneath, or side of our eye, underneath our eye, underneath your nose. I'm quite a fast tapper. Different people might do this at different speeds. There's no right or wrong. One of the things I love about tapping is there's not much right or wrong in anything. Underneath the arm, and then the top of the head. And a nice breath. And remember, if you're finding yourself just yawning, sighing, sometimes if you do this after a meal, there'll be some burping going on. All of these human functions that show a nervous system actually calming down and relaxing and feeling safe. This is the survival piece that I was talking about, that actually tapping on these points gives a message to the emotional brain that it is actually safe in this moment. Let's do one more round. There we go. Side of the hand, eyebrow, side of the eye, underneath the eye, underneath the nose. One of the things that sets EFT apart as an energy psychology modality is that we just tap the same points over and over and over again. In some different energy psych modalities, they would start linking up particular points to particular emotional experiences. In EFT, we don't do that. We have a simple mechanical routine where we just tap the same points over and over and over again. There we go. Nice. So let me show you one more thing here, because, believe it or not, I would understand that you may not want to be in the middle of the grocery store tapping all over these points on your upper body. And so there actually is a way that we can do this in a really socially acceptable way. I'm going to show you 2 ways tonight. And one of those ways is to take your hand and just to squeeze the sides, there we go, squeeze the sides of your fingers like this. We're actually going right to the base of the nail and squeezing, and then to the next finger and squeezing, the next finger and squeezing. There actually isn't meridians here, but I don't worry about that. I just do it anyways because it actually just kind of feels good. And squeezing here. So you can tap on the side of the hand point and then do the squeezing. And that becomes a little more subtle way to actually stimulate these acupressure points and calm the emotional brain down in order that it can physiologically feel safe. And again, you can do that on either hand. And then if we take that one step further, this is one of my favorites. I do this all the time when I'm on video calls or telecalls or in a meeting somewhere. And that's that I take this part of my thumb, trying to position this so that you can see. I think the easiest way is if you hold your hand right in front of you, the side of your thumb closest to you, down at the base of the nail, that's actually where your meridian comes out the end of your finger. And so you can tap on that base of your nail. And one of the ways to do that is actually to use your pointer finger and move it over or under. Some people do one, some people do the other. And just tap on that. And then use your thumb to tap on that part of each of your fingers. So this becomes, you can even put your hand in a pocket and do this kind of stimulation of the acupressure points. And again, some people could probably do that both hands at the same time. That skill's kind of beyond me. I can do one at a time. Okay. Great. So this is bronze standard. It just is tapping on the acupressure points. You can do this anytime, anywhere. One of the really the best ways to get this into your life, because again, it only works if you actually do it, is to tie it to a habit that you already have. So for example, if you commute to work, you could be tapping on these acupressure points on the way to work. If you drink water on a regular basis, you could do a few rounds of tapping as you drink that water. Every time you use the washroom facilities, you could stop and do a couple of rounds of tapping. So whatever habit that you have. For me, for example, I have a strong meditation habit, which I've been doing since 1976. And so it is very firmly established. And I actually do bronze level tapping before I move into my meditation, so that I'm actually toning my energy system, allowing me to actually get more benefit out of the meditation. Now I'm going to show you something else around this bronze level tapping that is very, very easy to do. And yes, remember, as Gary Craig said, we're talking about the bicycle here. We're talking about the 20%, but that 20% is amazingly effective. There's something which I call mindful bronze tapping. Mindful bronze tapping, as opposed to the one I just taught you, which is actually mindless bronze tapping. There's basically nothing in my mind at all, which is why I do it before meditation, before I've had my coffee in the morning. There's not going to be much in my mind at all at that stage of the game. So this little technique, mindful tapping, and that's where I would take just an index card or a piece of paper. It could even be like just a talisman of some sort. Like here I have a little clip. It just could be something like that. And what I'm going to do on this index card is I'm just going to jot down what my issue is. Maybe a couple of words to describe the issue I'm having. Maybe there's a pain in my knee, or maybe there's someone I'm not getting along with too easily at work. I'm just going to jot down a couple of words to describe the issue. You could make it a picture. If I was doing this with a young child, I might have them draw a picture of what it is that's upsetting them on this mindful card. I just wrote issue on this card. And so I'm just going to hold this card. In other words, I'm going to put the card into my mind as I start tapping on the acupressure points. And so it's kind of a bronze plus idea, right? Because I'm beginning to bring my mind into the body, tapping on the body part. So it's beginning to light up some of the neural pathways that are active around this issue. And that's part of what we're doing in EFT, is to calm those neural pathways so that they're not firing so intensely anymore. So that's just a little trick to do mindful bronze tapping. Okay, then the next level, if I share my screen again with you, here we go. The next level after bronze is silver. I think I can move this down so you can see, is what we call the silver standard EFT. And in the silver standard, we're going to move more into a mind-body technique. We're going to keep the tapping points from the bronze level, and now we're going to add the standard words of truth and acceptance that are typical in EFT. So on the left-hand side of the screen, we're going to tap on the side of the hand point as we say, even though I have this issue, I accept myself anyway. And we're going to say that 3 times. Even though I have this issue, I accept myself anyway. Even though I have this issue, I accept myself anyway. And then on the right-hand side of my screen here, we're going to tap on the rest of the points, the eyebrow, the side of the eye, under eye, and so on. And we're just going to repeat this issue, whatever the issue is, this issue. So drop the even though, drop the I accept myself anyway, and just repeat this issue, this issue, this issue, this issue. Okay, so let's take an example here. Supposing that I am experiencing some knee pain. Then what this would sound like would be, even though I have this knee pain, right? I'm tapping on the side of my hand. Even though I have this knee pain, I accept myself anyway. I'm going to say that 3 times. Even though I have this knee pain, I accept myself anyway. Even though I have this knee pain, I accept myself anyways. And moving to my eyebrow point, then drop the even though, drop the acceptance, and just say this knee pain. Side of my eye, this knee pain. Underneath my eye, this knee pain. Underneath my nose, this knee pain. On my chin, this knee pain. Collarbone, this knee pain. Underneath my arm, this knee pain. And the top of my head, this knee pain. And then I'm going to take a breath. And I'm just going to check in and see what's happening with that knee pain. At this silver standard level, we also don't worry about too much about taking a scaling, a rating on how intense the knee pain is. We're literally just riding the EFT bicycle and doing the standard, what we call global tapping on the issue at hand. So perhaps I would tune into my knee pain and something grabs my attention about the knee pain, and I realize that it's actually burning. It's a burning pain. So I might do a second round saying, even though I have this burning pain in my knee, I accept myself anyway. Even though I have this burning pain in my knee, I accept myself anyway. Even though I have this burning pain in my knee, I accept myself anyway. And then to our reminder points, the eyebrow, this burning pain in my knee, this burning pain in my knee, this burning pain in my knee. Underneath my nose, this burning pain in my knee. And chin, this burning pain in my knee. Collarbone, this burning pain in my knee. Underneath my arm, this burning pain in my knee. And the top of my head, this burning pain in my knee. And then we take a breath. And then we just say, you know, what do we notice now? What do we notice now? What's coming up for us now? And very often some connections begin to appear. That this pain is actually worse when I'm with this particular person, or this pain is actually worse when I get out of bed first thing in the morning. So all we're going to do is take that truth, right? That's words of truth, and we're going to fit the truth into the even though sentence, and we're going to tap on it exactly as we've done before. So at this level, this standard, silver standard, can you see, I hope that this is where all of the internet resources begin to fit in. So here's a picture, for example, of all kinds of resources that are available on Amazon chapters, independent bookstores all over. There's DVDs, There's all kinds of programs on the internet, but they're all going to be at a silver standard. And you can simply purchase a book, read the book. There'll be silver standard phrases that the book presents you with, and you just tap along as you read those sentences within the book. And this is the 20% Gary's talking about that does get phenomenal results. So here's an example. I built a general stress tapping script. And so I'm going to do this general stress tapping script because I would like to make sure that my body is feeling calm and comfortable and actually enjoying talking to you in this presentation. And I encourage you to tap along. Now, as you begin, you might just want to take a minute and notice to what extent you are feeling general stress. And just, how intense is it for you? In EFT, we use a scale from 0 to 10, which is called a SUDS scale, S-U-D-S, SUDS scale. And we just use that to begin to notice whether we're getting improvement. The other thing you might want to notice is, how do I know that I'm under stress? What is it physiologically that lets me know my body has gone into a stress reaction? My body is gone into fight or flight. Is it your heart beating a little bit faster? Is it a bit of a headache? Is it sweaty palms? Is your breath short? For you, what are the physiological signs that you're actually under stress? So just tap along with me, and let's start right here with round 1. So I'm tapping on my karate chop point, and I'm just going to make some general statements based on my knowledge of why people get stressed in their life. This may not have anything to do with your particular stress, but it might be helpful, even though it's kind of full of general statements about stress. Right? That's the drawback of the silver standard, is that it's not really going to be specific about you, because I don't know exactly what's stressing you out at the moment, but I can make some general global comments about what people generally get stressed about. So tapping on the side of your hand. Even though I'm very stressed right now, you can just say that after me. Even though I'm very stressed right now, I am willing to accept that's the way it is right now. That's it. Just repeat after me. I'm going to say that. Even though I'm very stressed right now, I'm helping myself by doing this tapping. We're still on the side of our hand. Third time. Even though I'm very, very stressed right now, at least I'm willing to tell the truth about it and accept myself. And then go to the rest of your points on your eyebrow. Very, very stressed. And you're just repeating. Side of your eye, I'm very, very stressed. Underneath your eye, very stressed. Underneath your nose, so much stress. On your chin, more than my body can handle. Your collarbone, it's overwhelming. Underneath your arm, all this stress. On the top of your head, all this stress. And take a nice breath. And just check in and just notice, what is your physiology doing? EFT is not about force. It's about noticing. It's about acceptance. And so we have no expectation that the intensity has to go down. We're just learning how to be with the actual experience that we're having. So let's do round 2. I'm back onto my side of hand point, even though I'm still very stressed. And you're repeating, I'm happy I'm still willing to tap on it. Even though some stress is still there, I'm willing to keep calming myself down. And our third time, side of hand, even though there's still stress in my body and mind, I'm willing to keep tapping on it and accepting myself. And then on your eyebrow point, remaining stress. Side of your eye, there's so much going on. Underneath your eye, I can't do it all. Underneath your nose, it's just too much, I can't handle it. Your chin, I'm really worried. Your collarbone, what if I can't do it all? Underneath your arm, this remaining stress. And the top of your head, this remaining stress. And a nice breath. And just check into your physiology. And just notice. Are you noticing any signs of release? The yawning, the sighing. Sometimes there's tears. Not necessarily even tears of sadness, just tears of release. And we'll do a third round on our side of our hand. And you're repeating after me, even though I still have some stress, I'm happy I'm getting some relief. Phew. Even though it isn't completely gone yet, I'm glad I'm breathing more fully. Even though my body is still having some stress reaction, I like that it's calming down. And then on your eyebrow, remaining stress. Side of your eye, it's calming down. Underneath your eye, what if I could calm down some more? And you, under your nose, I'd like that a lot. And your chin, what if I could think more clearly? Your collarbone, that would be great too. Underneath your arm, what if I could decide what to do next? On the top of your head, what if it was safe to relax in this moment? And we take a breath. And we notice. And we'll do one more round together. And part of what happens in these tapping scripts is I can't really tell whether your system's calming down or not. Mine's doing quite nicely here. But generally what tapping scripts do is start moving you into the higher emotions, and you need to take responsibility. If your body isn't quite there, you need to stop the tape, or stop turning the pages of the book and just stay with the tapping script on the emotions that are true for you. So round number 4, and you're repeating again. Even though I was very stressed, I'm pleased that I took action to calm myself. Even though I'm still a little stressed, I feel much better than I did. Even though my body went into fight or flight, I totally understand and forgive it. It happens. And then on our eyebrow, so much going on. Side of your eye, of course I got overwhelmed. Underneath your eye, feeling more in control now. Underneath your nose, I wonder what I need to do now. And on your chin, I wonder what small step might happen next. On your collarbone, I can work my way through this. Underneath your arm, calmly and confidently. On the top of your head, I choose to be calm and confident and work my way through this. And just take a nice breath there. And just notice. And that's a script that you can do at any point in time. That's available to you. If you'd like a copy, a PDF of that, just drop an email to support@nefti.com. That's NEFTTI.com. Support@nefti.com, and just say, could I please have the general stress tapping script? And we'd be happy to send that along to you. Okay. Now, so let's move right along. That was the silver. We started with the bronze. The bronze was about the body. The silver was about bringing the mind into it, but bringing the mind into it in quite a global way. Now, when we move into gold standard EFT, this is where professional training will bring you. This is where Gary talks about moving from the bicycle to the boats and the planes and the automobiles, right? And if you really engage in a professional training, you're not only going to be doing boats and planes and trains, you're going to be jetting, jetting all over the healing in the personal development world. Because the difference between what we've done before, when we move to gold standard, is that we're going to make the tapping specific to you and your situation. So for example, if you're stressed, maybe your stress is about a particular situation that you're facing. And your experience of that particular situation is going to be unique to you. And so at the gold level, we're going to be investigating to find out what is the actual energetic, emotional disturbance in your physiology that's creating distress. And as we find that particular aspect and we tap on that aspect, then your physiology will come to peace around that situation. And as you calm your physiology, you will feel better, you will think more clearly, you will be able to act more powerfully, and eventually over time, as you get very, very good at regulating yourself this way, you will move into an ability to actually proactively create the world that you want to experience. So here's some examples of gold standard situations. So why is this specific child refusing to go to school? Well, there's lots of children who refuse to go to school. So if you're dealing with a specific child, how do you actually discover what the energetic emotional disturbance is for him or her? Right? How do you determine what the situation is that they've actually moved into fight or flight around? And that would be gold standard. You can see as a parent how valuable having this ability to find the specific disturbances for your child is going to be. Here's the second one. Why is this specific adult not losing weight? We all know supposedly how it is we're supposed to lose weight. We know what it is we're supposed to be eating. We know how we're supposed to be exercising. So then how does it actually make sense for any specific adult to not be losing weight? What is that about for them? So for one specific adult, for example, it might be a response to grief, right? They may have lost something or someone very important to them, and actually holding on to emotional weight that is showing up physically. For a second person, it might not be about grief at all. For them, it might be about a fear of actually moving forward in their life. Perhaps they're a salesperson who's in a situation where they're supposed to be making cold calls, sales calls, and that really terrifies them for some reason specific and unique to them. And so in response to that fight or flight around their sales call, their body actually hangs on to emotional weight. Here's a third one. Why is this specific employee not showing up for work? So in the hands of a human resources professional who's been trained to do this work, they can actually help this employee to determine what specifically and uniquely is going on for them that they're finding it difficult to show up for work. And remember, the vast majority of all of this stuff is subconscious. You cannot think your way through these issues because they are energetic, they are emotional, and they are stemming from the subconscious desire to keep us safe. Why is this specific business coach not attracting clients? Right? So you have people in the world who are highly functional, highly competent, highly intelligent, but have issues in their lives. So this particular business coach is having an issue about attracting clients. Sure, at some level, there's rational information about, oh, here's what you do. You do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. But why is this specific person not doing that? That's what gold standard EFT is going to allow you to do, to get to the energetic, emotional, survival-based core reasons why this person isn't acting on the logical, rational information. There's another one. Why is this specific person afraid to get on an airplane? There's lots of people who are afraid to get on airplanes, lots of people who have phobias about different things, but it's going to be unique for any given person. Person A might have a fear of turbulence. Okay? That may actually relate back to some earlier experience in their life that threatened their survival. Person B might be afraid to get on the airplane because they have claustrophobia. And when that plane door closes, they go into a panic reaction. So gold standard can find these specific disturbances and bring the physiology to a place of peace around them. Addictions, why is this specific person addicted to that particular substance? Why is this specific person having chronic pain? So every one of us is a unique set of experiences that lead us to experience life in a particular way unique to us. And professional training in EFT allows you to get to the specific events and the specific beliefs that are leading to the experience you're having in life today. And so as Gary says, when you learn how to do that, you've got a real tiger by the tail. You have got an 80% drastically improved ability to feel better, think better, act better, and create your life. Okay, so you want more? Well, bronze standard EFT, you really can't have more. You've already got it. There is nothing more to bronze standard EFT other than tapping on the points that I've shown you today. And a reminder that you do have to do it. So you do need to create a habit out of this. And the easiest way to do that for a human system is to tie it to a habit that's already existing. Want more in the silver standard? Well, that's where you hop into the library, you hop onto the internet, you go to YouTube and you Google EFT and whatever your issue is. A lovely new book has just come out recently called The Tapping Solution for Teenage Girls. And the subtitle is How to Stop Freaking Out and Keep Being Awesome. And I have ordered actually many copies, and I just keep giving them away because there's a lot of teenage girls who who are wanting to stop freaking out and keep being awesome. So that's an example. The Tapping Solution is a wonderful website which is internet-based and whose mandate is to increase awareness of EFT and tapping in the world at this level of silver standard EFT. So that's tappingsolution.com, run by Nick Ortner, who's doing great work in the awareness of this. Now, if you want to move into gold standard EFT, that is the professional level of this, you really have a couple of choices. You can work with a professional who is trained and certified by the National EFT Training Institute. You want to make sure, this is a huge caution, one of the drawbacks of, remember that elephant in the room? And I said, the elephant in the room is that people can go onto the internet and they can, learn or study a few videos, and they can believe that they are now capable of helping people. They don't even understand that the elephant is in the room, that they are simply nowhere near prepared to be able to help people at this professional level. So you want to make sure that you've got somebody who has professional training. So certification by NEFTI is a fabulous assurance that this person has really invested in their own professional growth and their own personal growth. So you're looking for someone who has been trained and certified by NEFTI, who is either a regulated member of one of the government's health colleges. So this could be, a psychologist, a psychotherapist, a nurse, all of the regulated health professionals who has gone on and taken professional level training in EFT, or you're looking for a transformational emotional success coach. And at NEFTI, we have a 10-month full certification program where we certify transformational emotional success coaches who are specialists in EFT. And so they're certified by NEFTI, and they're also accredited with AMET International. So you're really wanting to look for someone who can bring you this level of professionalism, ethics, and gold standard EFT. Here's a couple of people in the NEFTI community. At NEFTI, we're really, really interested in being a community and supporting each other and inspiring each other. So here's a few of, these are regulated health college professionals who have been trained and certified by NEFTI. And then here's some transformational emotional success coaches who've completed their 10-month certification program. And I won't name them because I just won't. But we have in there, we have an educator. We have a yoga trainer who's specializing in using EFT and yoga for toddlers and young people. We have someone who's integrating EFT with a specialty around helping people who have retired from corporate positions. We have someone there who's integrating EFT and spirituality, and someone who's integrating EFT with her equine facility where she uses horses and the relationship her clients have with horses, and builds EFT into building that relationship between the horse and the client in order to resolve trauma, earlier trauma. We have a speech pathologist who's integrating EFT into her work, and we have a yoga trainer who works with adults who have highly traumatized backgrounds. So these are some examples of transformational coaches, emotional success coaches, specializing in EFT. Or, of course, the other option is for you to take NEFTI's professional training and or certification program yourself, and in so doing, energize your life and your work and your world. Here's a very attractive group. It just happens to, we don't have any gentlemen in that group, but that is not usual. Actually, there's usually a gentleman or two in the group. And so professional training at NEFTI is a small group, and it's highly experiential in order that you get hands-on practice and feedback to help you become the best that you can be at doing this work. Beautiful smiles. So I am so excited to stay connected with you. I'm glad that you've stuck with me to this point in the presentation. And in signing up for this presentation, you'll be a member of the community, and you'll receive the NEFTI newsletter that has information about events, lots of complimentary events like this community tapping call tonight. They happen quite frequently. We also have events where we bring the community together live, and you'll get information about that in the newsletter. The newsletter also includes some articles talking about different ways that you can use tapping, different case studies that people have used tapping for that would be helpful to you, research articles, all kinds of different strategies and tips for how you can use EFT at the bronze and the silver, and as well as the gold level. And so emotional freedom, that's what it's all about. You know, emotional freedom. To me, that's what success in this life is. That it's the ability to feel emotionally successful, to be able to experience joy and happiness and health, to not feel the constriction of those earlier events and the ways that we've limited our life through beliefs about not being good enough or not being competent enough, or it's not being possible for us to create the life that we want. So emotional freedom is that sense of true freedom and a calmness and a confidence and a knowing our own capability and our own creative ability to manage our lives and to expand our lives exactly the way that we want. And I just want to end our presentation tonight this way. And this was an opportunity I had several years ago, words of wisdom from a 9-year-old. And this actually was a young fellow who was brought to me because he was refusing to attend school. And as he and I just started to chat, I showed him how to tap. And with children, this work goes so quickly. So mostly we're just chatting as we're tapping. And he began to tell me what was going on at school and his good reasons why it was not a safe place for him to be. And I will never forget the evening that he came in. And he came in and he was just saying, Nancy, I'm so excited. I understand, I get it. And I said to him, what is it that you get? And here's the words of wisdom from a 9-year-old. What he said was, I understand that the sun always shines. I don't have to make the sun shine. All I need to do is tap away the clouds. Right? All I need to do is tap away the clouds. So words of wisdom from a 9-year-old about how to use EFT tapping to literally tap away the clouds of our life and experience the sun that's always shining behind those clouds. So let me end that slide presentation and just come back to you and thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this presentation. And please let me know if you are interested in doing the training, professional level training. I'd be glad to speak to you about that and make sure it's a good fit for you. And so just drop us a line here. It would be support@nefti, NEFTTI.com, support@nefti.com. And we'll be happy to engage in a conversation with you. Thanks again, everyone, and best wishes. Take good care now. Bye-bye.